I want to share a couple of stories with you. Stories about people who got the help they needed right when they needed it most. These stories are real, and while their names are changed for privacy, the experiences are very much what so many plaintiffs go through every day. James' story. James worked in a warehouse, lifting and moving heavy boxes day in and day out. He prided himself on being a hard-working provider for his family. But one day, everything changed. A forklift malfunctioned on his job, tipping over and pinning James beneath it. His back injury was severe, requiring surgery, physical therapy, and months of recovery. James was unable to work, and the financial strain on his family grew unbearable. His workers' compensation claim was tied up in delays, and every week seemed to bring a new hurdle. The situation hit its lowest point when James received a shut-off notice for his electricity. Winter was settling in, and the thought of his family being without heat terrified him. His wife, who was already working overtime at her job, was doing everything she could to hold things together, but it wasn't enough. James told me it felt like I was failing as a husband and a father. I didn't see a way out. That's when James' attorney suggested he look into pre-settlement funding. He was hesitant at first, worried that it might be a loan with strings attached. But after learning that there was no credit checks, no monthly payments, and no risk if his case didn't succeed, he decided to apply. Within 48 hours, James received the cash advance he desperately needed. He was able to pay his overdue utility bill, cover groceries, and even set aside money for his ongoing physical therapy. James told me later it wasn't just about keeping the lights on. It was about giving my family a sense of stability. For the first time in months, I felt like I could breathe again. And knowing I wouldn't have to pay it back if my case didn't go through, that gave me the peace of mind to focus on my recovery and my family. When James' workers' compensation case finally settled, he did receive a fair outcome, thanks to the time and resources his attorney had to fight for justice. Lisa's story. Lisa was a nurse who dedicated her life to helping others. But one rainy day on her way home from work, she was hit by a distracted driver who ran a red light. The accident left Lisa with a fractured pelvis and traumatic brain injury that made it difficult for her to concentrate or even perform simple tasks. Her medical bills piled up quickly, from emergency surgery to months of rehabilitation. Lisa's injury meant she couldn't work, and her short-term disability benefits barely covered her basic expenses. She was fighting a strong personal injury case, but the insurance company was dragging out the settlement process, offering her low-ball amounts in the hope she'd give up out of desperation. Lisa told me I felt like I was being punished twice, once for the accident and again for having to wait for justice. When Lisa found out about pre-settlement funding, she applied that same day. Within 24 hours, she had enough money to cover her rent, pay for her prescriptions, and even hire a part-time caregiver to help her at home. She told me, "The money gave me the strength to keep going. I wasn't forced to settle for less, and I was able to take care of myself without worrying about how I was going to make it through the month." With the financial stability provided by pre-settlement funding, Lisa's attorney was able to negotiate a settlement that was more than double the insurance company's initial offer.